He also enjoys hiking, skiing, surfing, reading, and exploring national parks. Today, Gopa will be sharing his perspective on interconnected learning. Please welcome Gopa to the stage.
I'm sure that at least some of us find one subject so confusing that simply thinking about it makes us want to pull our hair out. Well, I know I do. For me, that subject is English grammar. Sometimes my brain works like a collection of file cabinets. When I study, it puts the information into different drawers labeled math, science, English, etc. But this isn't all. I have a special drawer for English grammar. This one isn't just locked, it's welded shut. When we compartmentalize knowledge like this, we don't just create mental blocks. We train our brain to believe information exists in separate silos. But the real world does not work like this. Climate change doesn't walk up and say, hello, I'm a science-only problem. No, it involves math, politics, and ethics. And it brings a whole lot of problems to the table. In this case, single file thinking isn't just inefficient, it's unhelpful. I didn't realize this at first, but later I learned to connect subjects to things I knew and loved. For example, if I had a geography project, I didn't just describe a place. I actually went there, explored the cuisine, wrote essays, composed poems, made treasure hunts, did some art, and if relevant, even did some math. Learning felt like the real world, because in the real world, no subject exists alone. When I studied like this with my mom, I found every single subject fun, including English grammar. My mom, she's a great cook, but she didn't just mix spices, she makes subjects. Math was a story, science an adventure, and history sometimes it became snacks. And this magical chaos actually has a name, interdisciplinary learning. It essentially means taking ideas from different subjects and letting them work together. Instead of treating each subject as a separate island, interdisciplinary learning builds bridges between them, enabling one to solve real-world problems in more creative and more smart ways. And even Albert Einstein believed this. He says, our religions, arts, and sciences are branches of the same tree. In other words, knowledge is supposed to be connected, and research agrees. Studies from Harvard show that when students learn by linking subjects, they retain information for longer and understand it more deeply, because their brains form stronger and more cross-connected neural pathways. On a different note, perhaps someone here finds math a chore, or like it's personally attacking you. Well, here's one way that made me not fear or hate math. Growing up, my mom would narrate to me a story of an old woman selling food. She would then use this backdrop to weave in math concepts like percentages, algebra, and discounts. Suddenly, figuring out a 21% discount was just random and pointless math. I was helping a business survive. Math had a purpose, and I wasn't scared of it. Well, here's another example. My brother and I had zoomed ahead on a trail in Yellowstone National Park. We climbed over a boulder to take a shortcut to the hot spring. When we arrived, I noticed the vibrant blues, yellows, and greens. I was astounded. Later, when my parents caught up, they told me about the bacteria that lived in the scalding hot water. Later, I took some of that water viewed under the microscope. On that trip, I learned about bacteria, yeasts, and volcanoes. But it wasn't geology or biology. It was just an adventure. Nature doesn't differentiate subjects. There's no pure math or pure science in nature. Everything is intertwined in a wholesome way. And this isn't just some new idea. Let's look at some of the greatest minds in history. First up is Thomas Edison. Now, he wasn't just some electrical tinkerer, he was an entrepreneur. Also did chemistry as a hobby. And now we have Benjamin Franklin. He was a statesman, diplomat, and inventor who made the bifocals and the lightning rod. And then we have Leonardo da Vinci, who painted, studied human anatomy, and invented flying machines, and even observed waterfall. But let me tell you something. These people didn't think outside the box. Because for them, there was no box in the first place. So why does their type of thinking work? Well, imagine your mind as a city at light. When you memorize one random fact, a lone house lights up. That light is weak and it goes out quickly. But when you connect that fact to something else you already know, you build a bridge from that house to the rest of the city. Suddenly, more lights turn on, and your mind becomes a glowing, interconnected city. So, how can we use this type of thinking? Is it helpful at all? Well, instead of trying to cram that fact into your head, instead ask yourself, what is the bridge? What is the connection? How can I connect this to something else? New geometry? Imagine designing a level in a video game or your favorite group. Learning a new vocabulary word? Try turning it into a joke. Doing history? Imagine how you film it for a movie scene. Every time we link subjects, we train our brain to think in the way the real world works. Flexible, interconnected, and creative. Interdisciplinary learning is smarter, better, and way more fun. But more importantly, it is one of the essential skills we'll need for the world we're going into. It's time to stop lighting lonely houses. It's time to stop compartmentalizing learning. It's time to start building bridges, and it's time to view everything as a whole. Thank you.